tell you about the time that I was able to get a 60% raise on my salary. I really had no idea that I was being so grossly underpaid, but the minute I did, I started to make steps to change that situation for myself. I'm telling you this not because I want to brag, I just want to point out how bizarre it is about salaries and being able to negotiate them. And unfortunately, I'm finding out over and over again that a lot of women tend to be underpaid, and it's for a plethora of different reasons. I mean, a lot of times, we can get into that in a totally different video, but there are things that happen in the workplace that kind of set you apart, and this was one of them for me. So I wanted to share this story with you. Hopefully you'll find it useful in some way, and maybe you'll connect with it, and if you do, please tell me in the description box. So this video is going to be about what do you do when you're being grossly underpaid at your job, and what steps you can take moving forward. So if you want to hear about how I was able to get a 60% raise in my job, subscribe and keep watching. So I've been very, very fortunate that every time I've tried to go and get a job, I've been able to do so. And this is a big deal only because I'm a millennial, and when I graduated from college, I graduated in the middle of the recession, and there just were not jobs. Like, no, there weren't good jobs, or the jobs that are available, they were kind of weird in some way, or they were like really hard to come by. You had to know somebody in some way. So this particular story is about when I worked in finance. Okay, so I worked in finance at this time, and I had a meeting with my boss, and there's a whole backstory with this, but specifically what happened was I was working in this job. It was a new industry for me. I didn't really know that much about my industry, and they hired me because they felt I had something special to offer to the firm, and they wanted me to be there. But because it was the recession, people were getting fired like, like just dodging bullets, People were getting fired all the time. And for me, I was in my job for 6 months, I think, 6 to 7 months, and I had 3 different bosses, which means I never got any training over those 6 to 7 months. And then I got a new boss. Well, he wasn't my boss. He was supposed to be the boss of the boss that I didn't have because that person was fired and they were hiring somebody new. So he came to be with me for a kind of like an impromptu one-on-one to kind of train me in my job finally. So imagine that you're in a position, you're in a job, and you know that what has become the norm is that companies will pay you kind of your intro rate, whatever that is. They'll pay you, let's say the job normally pays $80,000, so they'll pay you $40,000 for your first 3 months, and then as you grow in the company, they will give you a raise, or you'll get bonuses that will fill in the gap of the normal rate. Or I don't know if that is the norm or whatever, but it became the norm down here in Miami, and in the finance and business development, any type of sales, it is the norm. It's actually much worse now. So my boss came, and he was talking about, at the time I drove a Ford Focus, which I was very proud of, because I think it was the second car. It was the second car I owned, but it was the first car that I bought brand new. So I was really proud of that car because I got it for myself, and it was something I did for myself, so I was very proud of it. So my boss, we went out to go see clients, and we jumped in my car, and he commented on my car, and he said, "Wow, Vivian, you're going to your meetings in this car." And I thought to myself, what other option do I have? This is before Uber, okay? So this is before Uber, Lyft. So whatever your car was, that's what the car you drove, And I was so proud of that car because it was the first car I ever bought. And as he was talking, I said to him, "Well, what other vehicle should I be riding in?" And he says to me, "Well, I don't know why you don't have a company car. The last guy had a company car." What? The last guy had a company car. What was that about? And I just kind of made a mental note. And then and I asked him, I said, well, you know, what kind of car do you drive? And he told me it was a luxury car. And I thought, wow. I was like, well, it's easy to drive a car like that when you're being paid properly.
Oh, no.
I never thought I would be in that situation. And to say it was awkward is a huge understatement. Huge understatement. Now, mind you, this is not my boss. This is my boss's boss. So this is a very important person that I made this comment to. And then I thought, you know what? I already said it. I've already gone into this kind of gray area of the corporate world where you're not supposed to talk about money, even when you're being underpaid. So I said to him, you know, you won't hire me because I have the skills to do this job and that I can be very good in this industry, but I haven't had any training at all, and I was supposed to get training. It's been 7 months, and I've had 3 bosses and no training, and I haven't had the opportunity to raise my salary. And quite frankly, if I was a manager at Walmart or if I worked at McDonald's, I could make the same amount of money and not have anybody worrying about my car. Yes, I said that. And I said that, I mean, we were in the car, we were in my car, and I said that to him, and he said, wow, you know, really? I said, yeah, you know, and I'm working with finance. I'm closing deals that are 6-figure deals on a regular basis, and I'm sitting in the room with CEOs and VPs of major companies, and I'm being paid the equivalent of someone who works at Walmart. What the hell? What the hell? You know, and at that point, I could feel in his demeanor that it was okay for us to have this kind of conversation, because it was toward the end of the day. We had spent the whole day together. He could easily see that I was a hard worker, and, you know, the fact that he felt comfortable to make the joke about my car made me feel comfortable to say this to him. Anyway, long story short, when we parted ways, after my training days are over, he said to me, Vivian, I'm going to talk to whoever I need to talk to, because you're right. You know, you should be making more money, and you need to be able to focus on the transactions and on the meetings so that you can do better in your job. So he talked to whoever he needed to talk to, and before my next paycheck, I received a 60% raise. I mean, wow. Believe me, it was such a relief, because it was that was my first big job after college, and Sally Mae was coming for me. She still does, you know. So I had bills to pay, so it was important to have that. But on the other end of things, it made me really curious. Okay. But thank goodness for him, you know, because if I didn't take that chance and we didn't have that conversation, I would have never known. To me, I thought it was very easy for him to do this. Mind you, he was an executive in the company, so it was in his power to do this because of his position. But in my mind, I felt like, wow, I've been here for 7 months making what I'm making, and it took him 2 weeks to make this adjustment. I was really being undercut in a serious way for them to make that change so quickly, because I've never had the self-esteem to think that I'm so special that they would just give me the money. I felt like there was something bigger than that. So I ended up talking to some of my other coworkers who had been there for much longer than me, and one of the district managers that was there was an amazing man. And if you ever see this, you know who you are. You're such an awesome human being. And we were, you know, talking, and I decided to talk to him about what was going on and what had happened over those last couple of days. And then he shared with me what the previous person who was in my position was a man, you know, and he was an older man, which also means that he had more experience than me. He did not require the training that I required, but the reality was that guy was getting paid 30% more than what I was making at the time. And even with the raise that I received, he was still making, if I remember the exact number, I think he was still making like around $22,000 more than what I was making after I received a 60% raise. So how do you like that? But the reality is, and why I wanted to share this video is, you get what you ask for. You know, I've never been the type of person that kind of the squeaky squeaky wheel gets the oil kind of a person, but my experience in working in the corporate world has shown me repeatedly that you really do get what you ask for. So if you're working in a job and you feel like you're being underpaid, or you feel like you're not getting the support that you were promised, or that you were that for some reason you felt that you were supposed to get, or they gave you the impression that you were going to get that kind of support, stand up and ask for it, and ask for it to the right people. Don't gossip in your office. Don't complain to your coworkers. Go to the people who can make the difference and make the decision, and talk to them directly, very frankly, not rudely. And don't talk like me, because I would I don't know, I don't want to say that I wouldn't do that again, because it's in my personality to speak that way, because I believe in being frank. I think you just get to where you need to go faster that way. But be tactful about it, within your own personality. And talk to the people in charge, the people who can make the decision, and let them know where you see the discrepancies and how you would like it to be resolved. And you never know. Thank you so much for watching. This is a totally different format for me. I hope you like it. If you do, tell me in the description box. If you have similar experience, please tell me in the description box. Let's connect about this, and what do you think should be the right solution there? Should you always address it right up front, or should you wait, or should you do it in a different way? Tell me in the description box.